The room felt smaller than it should have, not physically. It was a large office, polished wood, neutral walls, everything arranged to make difficult conversations feel contained. But something about the air felt compressed, like there wasn't enough space for what was already understood. I sat at the end of the table, hands folded loosely, not because I was calm, but because I had learned how to look that way. Across from me, my parents sat closer together than usual. My mother leaned slightly toward my sister, who looked composed, almost rehearsed. The lawyer began with standard language: dates, names, formalities that sounded detached from anything personal. I wasn't listening closely. I didn't need to. I already knew how this would go. My sister's name came first. A number followed, large enough that it shifted the room, even for people who expected it. No one reacted openly, but I saw it. Small movements, exchanged glances, the quiet acknowledgement of scale. My father smiled, not broadly, just enough. My mother didn't look at me. She kept her attention on the table, as if everything was proceeding exactly as planned. Then my name. The lawyer paused slightly. A sum of $1. It landed without impact at first, then the silence after it made it real. My father let out a short laugh. Now you'll learn some responsibility, he said, not bothering to lower his voice. A few people shifted uncomfortably. My mother added, "You were always the disappointment anyway." There was no anger in it. That was what made it harder to respond to. It sounded like a conclusion, not an insult. I didn't react, not because it didn't matter, because it did, but in a way that felt already decided long before this moment. I looked at the table, at the clean lines of the documents, at my name printed in the same font as everything else. For a second, I thought about saying something, not to argue, just to interrupt the finality of it, but there wasn't anything I could add that would change how they saw me. The lawyer cleared his throat. "There is one additional item," he said. His tone shifted slightly, not louder, but more deliberate. "A sealed letter, left with specific instructions that it be read after the will." My mother's posture changed, not dramatically, just enough that I noticed. The lawyer opened the envelope carefully, like the act itself required precision. The room adjusted around him. Attention moved, quietly but completely. He began reading. The voice stayed neutral, but the content didn't. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't apologetic. It was factual, references to dates, financial decisions, transfers that had been made under certain conditions, conditions that hadn't been disclosed. I felt something shift, not in the room, but in how I was listening. My grandfather's words weren't defending me. They were documenting something, a pattern. Money moved in ways that suggested influence, pressure. Decisions made that redirected assets before they were meant to be touched, the kind of thing that didn't look like a mistake when written down. I looked up. My mother wasn't looking at the lawyer anymore. She was staring at the table, her expression tighter than before. My sister's composure had changed. Not broken, just uncertain. My father leaned back slightly, as if distance might make the words less direct. The lawyer continued. There was no accusation in the tone, just clarity, and then the part that changed everything, a clause, one that activated under specific circumstances. If the documented actions were verified, which according to the attached records, they already had been, then the primary distribution would be reevaluated, adjusted or rated. The lawyer stopped reading. The room didn't fill the silence right away. It sat there, held in place by what had just been introduced. My mother spoke first. "This doesn't," she started, then stopped. Her voice didn't recover immediately. "This isn't accurate." The lawyer didn't respond emotionally. "It has been reviewed," he said, independently. My father looked at him, then at the documents, then at me. For the first time, there was something like uncertainty in his expression, not regret, just recalculation. I didn't say anything. I wasn't thinking about the money. I was thinking about how long this had been known, how long it had existed beneath everything else, the assumptions, the labels, the quiet certainty that I had accepted. My sister shifted in her seat. "What does that mean?" she asked. Her voice was softer now. "It means," the lawyer said, "that the current distribution is not final." No one reacted immediately. There was no argument, no raised voices, just a gradual understanding that what had been presented as settled was now open. My mother finally looked at me, not directly at first, more like she was adjusting to the idea that I was part of this in a way she hadn't accounted for. I held her gaze when it landed. There was nothing to say, no correction, no accusation, just a shared awareness that something had shifted, and neither of us could define it the way we used to. The meeting didn't end abruptly, it dissolved. People gathered their things slowly, as if movement might clarify what had happened. It didn't. I stayed seated for a moment longer, not out of shock, out of recognition. For years, I had assumed the story they told about me was fixed, that it explained everything. But now there was another version, not kinder, not easier, just Different. When I stood, no one stopped me. No one asked what I thought. Outside, the air felt wider, less contained. I didn't check my phone. I didn't make any calls. There would be time for that later. For now, the only thing that felt clear was this. Whatever I had been told about who I was in that family, it wasn't the whole truth, and it never had been.